A very good morning, and thanks for clicking on to the Tropical Outlook. It is Thursday, the 14th of November. There is so many things going on at the moment here. Tropics and winter weather coming up as well. So if you're a lover of all things winter, weather, whatever, now is the time to hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate that. We've got the winter forecast also coming up a week on Sunday on the live stream. And we've also got the live stream coming up this Sunday as well. So let's get right to it. The tropics are alive and kicking despite the fact that we're in an approach in the middle of November. Abnormally warm sea surface temperatures and the right weather conditions within the atmosphere come together to produce what is a still very active Pacific. And it looks as if we're going to see some development in the Atlantic basin as we progress through the next several days. Tropical storm, potentially a hurricane, potentially a major hurricane to talk about for Central America. So this is the reason why I'm doing a Thursday morning tropical outlook. But I want to talk a little bit about the Pacific first of all, because there is some significant things going on at the moment. I've done my very best this season to not just focus on the Atlantic, but also show you the Pacific and the typhoons. We've also looked at other basins as well. If we actually look at this first of all, if I can get to the right, I've got that many tabs open here. If you notice here that we've got quite an active Pacific basin, we've got the tropical storm Manyi, we've got the typhoon Usagi, which is now a super typhoon, by the way, and we'll look at that in just a second. And we've also got Torjai also to speak about. This is the three systems in the West Pacific. We've also got an area of interest in the Indian Ocean and also the Caribbean Sea as well. So, we might be heading towards the end of the season, but it is not quiet, that is for sure. Moving to the West Pacific first, we've got Usagi. This is a tweet here by Back Perch Weather. I'm going to show you a couple of interesting tweets, and then we'll look at the other things, including the models. But Back Perch Weather goes on to say that this was a tweet from late last night saying that it has exploded into an ultra-dense Category 4 super typhoon that sustained winds of 150 miles per hour or 241 kilometers per hour and a needle-sharp core pressure at 915 millibars. The third Pacific super typhoon of the 2024 season. Usagi has dropped a shocking 66 millibars in just 12 hours while gaining 65 miles per hour of wind speed in that same time as well. This is a compact swirling blizzard of destructive wind and rain has been trending to the south of her forecast track lately, meaning that she could potentially make a direct landfall on Luzon's eastern coast. So that's the Philippine Sea, of course, within the next 12 hours or so. So this is a slightly pre-recorded video, by the way, so a couple of little factors may be a little bit outdated, so it has to be emphasized. But it looks as if northern Philippines is under the gun of another significant hit. Now, another interesting tweet here by Matthew, based in the Philippines, saying, for the first time in recorded history, since 1951 anyway, we have 4 simultaneously active named tropical cyclones in the West Pacific for the month of November. So we had Yingxing, we also had, that was formerly Marcy, or Marcy, I think it is, PH. We've also got Torjai, we've got Manyi, and we've got Usagi. It surpasses the previous record of 3 simultaneously active named storms in November in 1968. During that said year, tropical cyclones Mami, Nina, and Aura were active from November 22nd at 06Z to November 24th, 00Z. So we've got certainly some very interesting things going on at the moment. Looking at a couple of other factors to consider, looks as if this tweet here by Riley saying that the Philippine Sea effect once again strikes. In terms of the rapid cyclogenesis of the system, the rapid deepening has undergone an IRI increasing from 75 knots, which is 85 miles per hour, to 115 knots, 130 miles per hour, increasing from Cat 1 to Cat 4 in hours. It is expected to intensify more to 150 miles per hour, which we know it has now done so, and is a super typhoon skirting the northeast of Luzon in the Philippines. So, there is certainly plenty of things to speak about in the West Pacific. We also have the Atlantic to consider as well, and potential tropical cyclone 19 has developed. That is the area of interest in the Caribbean Sea at the moment, obviously issued by NHC. It's forecast to become a tropical storm tomorrow by, this is off Phil Klotzbach's Twitter page, by the way. If it does so, it would be the 11th named system to form since the 24th of September. That would be the most on record to form between 24th of September and the 14th of November. The current record is 10 set in 1950, and it looks as if we are going to see an 11th named storm. That would be Sura, by the way. That is what we expect to see develop over the next wee while or so. So looking at the latest information of NHC itself, just wait for the page to upload, and you can see here that we've got the potential tropical cyclone 19 area X off just to the southwest of the island of Jamaica. If we click onto this and see what they're showing with regards to the key message, so through the early portions of next week, so through early next week, heavy rainfall will cause significant life-threatening flooding to parts of Central America. By the way, there's an area where we could see over 2 feet of rain in parts of far northeastern Honduras and Nicaragua. The disturbance is forecast to become near hurricane strength when it moves near the eastern coast of Honduras and northeastern Nicaragua on Friday and Saturday this upcoming weekend. Hurricane and tropical storm conditions are possible over portions of that area. The system is to forecast to approach Belize and the Yucatan of Mexico at or near hurricane strength early next week, where there is a risk of dangerous storm surge and damaging winds. So residents are obviously urged to now start taking some action on that one. So looking at the Pacific Basin, you can see why we have got the areas of concern. Now, some of the warmest, deepest waters anywhere on the planet is around the Philippine Sea at the moment. We've not got just 29, 30 Celsius waters at the surface, but they go deep below the surface as well. We've got very high ocean heat content in this part of the West Pacific, hence why we've got the strongest storms anywhere on the planet in this part of the world. But SSTs are around 29 to 30 Celsius, and you can see here in this graphic that that is the case. This is the Philippines right here. This is Indonesia, Borneo, and you can see 30, 31 Celsius. Those waters extend up towards the northern portions of the Philippine Sea. So northern portions of the Philippines is up here. Generally, water temperatures do cool off once you get to this latitude, but there is a lot of warm fuel here for systems to tap, especially when you've got an environment that's conducive for sustaining these systems. Now, moving into the Atlantic Basin, this is the current SSTs of tropical tidbits. So you've got 29, 30 Celsius again in the west portion of the Atlantic Basin, the Caribbean to be exact, and the water temperatures are firmly warmer than average. These are basically SSTs that you would expect to see during the month of October. So there is a very, very significant high level of ocean heat content. This is the ocean heat content, meaning that we've got basically 27, 28 Celsius water temperatures that extend 200 meters below the surface. And that means we've got ample fuel to tap. Looking at the models here, this is the GFS model real quick first. Now, I have to emphasize that there is quite a lot of pretty much cross-model agreement that this system is expected to become a hurricane. Water temperatures are ample warm. We've got the deep warm waters at that, but we've also got low shear and a lack of dry air. So this system is expected to develop quite quickly. The only issue that this system may have is land interaction, because it is very, very close to the Central American coast. Now, this is as of Friday, 15th of November. You've got a feature here at 998 millibars. Remember, GFS, ECM, other models generally don't pick up particularly well how strong these systems become, because it's a gridded way of these computer models looking at the atmosphere, and it doesn't go into when you've got tropical cyclones that are very, very small. It's hard for these models to pick up on finer details, so therefore it has a weaker system than what we may actually expect to see. Hurricane models are always a better way of looking at it. It looks at it in more micro, of a more micro emphasized dynamic, so to speak. Is that the right way to term? Probably isn't, but you get my idea anyway. The hurricane models look at things in a lot more detail, whereas the more broader brushed models, such as the global models, tend to find less in the way of detail. So they tend to undercook these systems. But generally, the overall emphasis is that we've got high pressure building over the northern Gulf, southern United States. That's going to shut the door to this system moving into the Gulf initially, anyway. But you can see here that it becomes trapped. We've got a cold front actually digging southwards, so this shuts the door to this system moving. And what's going to happen is, the concern is that this system develops into a hurricane, 70, 80 mile per hour system. It's going to be a long-lived multi-day event. So therefore, we're going to see potential upper-end tropical storm, low-end hurricane force winds battering the coast for a good 2-3 days. Not hours, but days. Therefore, we're going to see massive amounts of rain building up in this mountainous area of Central America as well. So this system kind of gets stuck, trapped underneath that high that builds over the Gulf of Mexico, southeastern United States. Eventually what happens is that high then moves to the east. We've got a cold front moving southwards. That may open the door to this system then moving into the Gulf. Exactly where it goes within the Gulf remains very much open to question. So that's the GFS. Let's look at the ECMWF. You can see here, similar idea. The system is expected to gradually develop. Low shear, lack of dry air, very warm water temperatures. The land interaction is the only thing that is going to stop this thing from developing into anything significant. But there is some modelling suggesting that this thing becomes a Category 3 or greater system, by the way. So we need to keep an eye on this real carefully. But it looks as if by the time we reach Saturday, 16th of November, the feature is sitting right along the coast of, I believe this would be Nicaragua or Honduras. I can't remember which, and I should actually. But I think the biggest concern is very powerful winds blowing onshore. We've got storm surge threat. We've got coastal flooding threat. But we've also got significant rainfall threat. Speaking of rainfall threat, this is the GFS model here. Total accumulated precipitation over the course of between now and the early portions of next week. And this yellow colour, by the way, represents in excess of 24 inches of rain. So this will dump a tremendous amount of rainfall in this area over the next several days or so here. So there will probably be an update on this by the time we reach. I'll probably do an update again on Saturday as usual. But this is the latest IR imagery showing the convection. So not overly organised at the moment, but there is. You notice here that there's a bit of a turn towards the coastline here. This is the Central American coast right here. You can see this ball of convection here moving towards that coast. And I think there is a low-level circulation that has formed. It'll be interesting to see over the next day or so how this system consolidates and then how strong it becomes. That will remain very much open to question. Let's have a quick look and see if there's anything else that I can show here. So let's look at the current storms. PTC 19. This is a look at the global models showing the system going close to the Central American coast. Then it drives up towards the Belize-Mexico border, so the Yucatan Peninsula and the northern portions of Belize here. And then what's going to happen is the system is expected to go into the Yucatan Peninsula. The question mark is going to be how much strength does this thing get, especially given the fact that it's so close to land. Looking at the GFS ensembles here, and you can see again, general emphasis being on this corner between Nicaragua and Honduras here. the system moves into the open waters of the far west Caribbean before it makes some sort of a landfall, either northern portions of Belize or up towards the Cancun Cozumel area. So a lot of uncertainty here, especially as we move into the weekend itself. Depends on how quickly this area of high pressure builds and then kicks off to the east. Then we'll have another trough that digs in that is likely to give this a little bit of a kick towards the east or northeast. So a lot of things going on at the moment here. So I would greatly appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button. I will be back shortly with the European Outlook later on today, should I say, because this video has been published early in the morning time. But I will be back around about 5:30 p.m. UK time with a European Outlook, looking a little bit more specifically at the coming cold spell. So lots going on. Keep it right here, and I'll see you later on with the European Outlook. Bye for now.